All right. Um, Items I'm going over today have to do with Keto Plan 53. Um, we're going to talk about oxalate dumping that could be happening for anybody on keto. Um, National champion mentality. And then Todd gave me the national um, projections for everyone that's competing for indoor nationals and all about the summer and then next year on competitions. Okay, so first thing I wanted to go over is the practice this Sunday, March 17th. And that is St. Patrick's Day. That's when we're going to be practicing at Audubon. He said the doors open at 6 p.m. So it will be a late in the day practice. So make sure you get all your green beer out of your system by the time you show up to practice on Sunday, the 17th. And then obviously we leave 3 days later on the 20th. The most majority of us will be leaving then. Some people will be arriving Friday and Saturday. But we'll start to get there on Wednesday. So doors open for practice 6 p.m. at Audubon this Sunday. Um, I want to go over Keto Plan 53. This is the one that has the OMAD 24-hour fast in it. And I want you to understand the reason that you can't just stick with keto, low carb, low carb, low carb, low carb, eating 4 meals a day, intermittent fasting, 16 hours, 16 hours, 16 hours, 16, or 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, is the body is very smart at um, um, picking up patterns. And then once it picks up a pattern, it will just stop giving you results, slows the results down. So there has to be a never ending. You can be on keto, you just constantly have to change it up, or you can be on low carb, you got to constantly change it up, and so forth. Obviously, too much carb is just the absolute cause of weight gain. So there's no such thing as being on high carb. Um, or it actually keeps your weight down, because it doesn't. It doesn't work that way at all. Anyway, Keto Plan 53 that I loaded on the app for the athletes for the month of March. It's got keto, and then it also has 24-hour fast every other day, which 24-hour fast just means you're doing OMAD. That's 1 meal a day. And that right there should shock your system. Um, just that in itself. So adding a 24-hour fast, lunch to lunch, dinner to dinner, breakfast to breakfast, whatever works for you, um, that has a big impact on breaking plateaus. And it also is a way for you to learn that if you're watching your weight, which I watch mine daily, especially on when I do OMAD, I want to see what's happening on a daily basis. You'll notice that your body will maybe go up 2 pounds and then back down two, maybe up one, then down two. It's a fantastic weight maintenance. So far, that's what I'm concluding, that it is a great way to cause your weight to go down to a certain amount and then be able to hold it there. Um, Usually, when you just do straight water fast or dry fast, you drop a big chunk of weight, but as soon as you eat, you're going to be back up 3 to 5 pounds. But it will be a different set point. So it will be 3 to 5 pounds, but a lesser 3 to 5 pounds than what you originally started. With OMAD, that one definitely keeps the weight down. It keeps it really steady. So OMAD is a great way to restabilize 10 pounds that you lose or 15 pounds that you've lost. OMAD's a good way to get it stuck there. I spent so many years at drop weight and then from eating strict and then just go back to eating just healthy carbs, healthy plantains, eating some extra nuts on my salad, really big salads with just oil and vinegar. And then the weight would go up 2 pounds, and it would go up 5 pounds, and it would go up 8 pounds, and it would be up 12. I'd be like, what the fuck? I did all this work and I'm already back up 12. So it's because I definitely didn't get the new set point stuck down low enough. And so that's the meaning behind when your weight swings too much. And what I'm discovering that I'm going to write about in the book that Todd's writing is OMAD is a great 7 day, 14 day, 21 day, possibly 4 week plan to do to cause the weight to come down into a new set point. You can't go back to high carb after that, but you could go back to eating a couple times a day after OMAD has reestablished. So let's say you were holding in the 170s, then you pulled your weight down to 162. Well, if you just go back to eating 2 or 3 times a day, that 162 is going to climb 8 fucking pounds so fast. It might take a month, but it's still going to climb you right back to 170. But if you do OMAD in there, that one meal a day, because that's 24 hours of fasting still happening, starts to really tell the body, no, 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 you get down here and you stay down in this new set point. So that's what I'm realizing about OMAD. It's a great way to recalibrate a chunk of weight that you've just taken off. So once it starts to recalibrate, then you do do another mix up of keto. Then you should knock it down again. And then you throw in some OMAD there. Again, I've tested 7 days. I've yet to see, I'll test on my next weight that I bring down. Like when I lose 5 more pounds, then I'll test it and see, well, can OMAD reestablish me in 3 or 4 days, 3 or 4 days of doing it? Then I'll get some kind of basis behind it. But so far, I definitely see how OMAD with a 24-hour fast is reestablishing and holding my weight down instead of letting it just boomerang back up in, you know, 3 days, 10 days, 14, 15 days. It's absolute bullshit after all that work. Very demoralizing. So I think this could be a really great secret right here of reestablishing a set point after you've taken down. I mean, 5 to 8 pounds is no laughing matter. Dropping 5 to 8 pounds, you don't want to see that shit go back up and it looks like you just have one of those pounds off. That is irritating beyond belief. So I think OMAD is going to be the key for that. So make a mental note of that to yourself. That when you do take a little chunk off, do OMAD for about 4 to 7 days and see if that starts to make it more concrete down there in that lower number. Um, Now we're going to talk about oxalate dumping. I was discussing this a little bit with Jody earlier. For people that got on keto and got some really bad keto flu or keto side effects, this guy I was watching last night was talking about oxalates. Oxalates. So they are also, a lectin is a really bad thing, but an oxalate is even worse. It is a toxin. There's very high oxalate foods. There's, I think his chart said very high, extremely high oxalates. No, super high oxalates, extremely high oxalates, high oxalates. Then he had another screen that had moderate oxalate foods and low oxalate foods. Oxalates are a toxin that's in plants and seeds. And the difference from them and lectins is our body with a lectin can break the lectin down and get and excrete it. Oxalates don't break down. They store and accumulate and accumulate and accumulate and accumulate over years. So Jody made this comment about, I know some of this is age. I'm like, there's nothing that has to do with age. Aging has nothing to do with anything aching, anything breaking down, nothing. So I'm a big believer that's all a crock of shit and it's all just aggressive marketing from big pharma. That's all that is. And you already know my stance on big pharma. So oxalates they accumulate and they only get excreted when they are either eaten with calcium or you consume calcium and then calcium attaches itself to oxalate and pulls it out of your system. So oxalates, if as they accumulate, as we age, they turn into little crystals that are like glass shards. And they park, what they did to me is they park in my nerves. And other people, they'll park in your joints. They can park in your feet, making you think you have gout. And you actually don't have gout at all. You're having what's called oxalate dumping. This is very interesting. And of course, what I was watching said when you have a diet that's high in oxalate, which is typical of people that eat carnivore and or keto, um, and you and or you left just like a kind of healthy eating that had too many oxalates in it and you stopped them completely and you went to keto, then oxalate dumping happens. And when oxalate dumping happens, the dump that's happening is the oxalates are leaving the cells and they're dumping into the bloodstream and into the cells, and they're causing extreme inflammation. They can cause um, a lot of inflammation. They can cause what looks like gout in your feet. They can cause a lot of pain in the joints that comes and goes and bursts. Make sure it just turn it once you set in here. Okay. So that's what oxalate dumping means. And I've read earlier, I'm going to read it again, the foods that have the highest oxalates in them. So super high. Number one is almonds. It's the cashews are right underneath that. When it comes to all the nuts, the lowest lectins and the lowest oxalates, thank God they both match, were pistachios. Macadamia is the lowest, pistachios and pecans. So the very top of the list of lectins and oxalates, number one oxalate of all is almonds. Spinach is really high. Rhubarb, potatoes. So let's say you eat potatoes and then you stopped them. Well, that could cause oxalate dumping when you went on keto, which can cause a lot of inflammation. Raspberries are sky high on oxalates. All beans. So see how similar this is to lectins, but they're not. French fries, Swiss chard, okra, wheat bran flakes, kale is terrible. Kale has an enormous amount of oxalates. Miso, black tea, tofu, and the one that fucks me up is dark chocolate. It has massive amounts of oxalates. Soy as well. So that's why you really shouldn't be eating soy anyway, because it's all the GMO. So what foods neutralize oxalates is high calcium foods. So those of you who do not have a dairy allergy, I'll tell you what to do if you do have a dairy allergy. But those of you without a dairy allergy, he said, if you do eat some nuts, make sure you eat nuts with dairy. So high calcium dairy foods like milk, yogurt, and cheese. And that dairy binds to the oxalates. But still, that does nothing for your oxalate dumping that could be happening. So some of you, you've already told me, you're inflamed, your ankles are swollen, your feet, your fingers, all that kind of stuff. That's most likely since you've already been on the keto plan for at least 2 months. It could be oxalate dumping that's going on with you. Anyway, so he said the best way to get off of oxalates is you cut it down 50% a week. Then it won't dump and you increase your calcium. So your calcium will bind to it and excrete it out of your system. So obviously all those foods I really read to you, those are really, I mean, with the exception of some of those carbs, they would be something that you would eat on a keto diet. So you just want to say, okay, I'm going to switch my spinach out, cut it down until you don't eat it. Same thing with kale or Swiss chard, and then just move it to like regular lettuce and romaine, stuff like that, that doesn't have high oxalates. So he said best just to cut it in half, and then the next week cut it in half again, and then it should be gone. Then you try not to have it anymore, and then um, use calcium in order to help your body pull it out. If you can't do dairy, then you can do calcium citrate, and calcium citrate is what citric acid is made of, and calcium. There's a lot of calcium citrate in lemon juice. So if you have a dairy allergy, you just need to be drinking quite a bit of lemon juice. If you're getting any kind of inflammation, um, so calcium citrate is in lemon juice and citric acid. So if you have citric acid powder, that is something that you can put. I'm going to start adding it into the ARD also. So if people use the ARD, I'll put citric acid in there. Michelle told me to do that. So I'm going to add that in there. And that has a wonderful benefit of being derived from calcium citrate, which is great for keto dumping. I'm sorry, oxalate dumping that can happen on strict keto. So I had horrible keto flu at the very beginning. With me, oxalates attack my nerves. And obviously, those of you who knew when I was having all kinds of lectins and stuff in my body, just arms going numb in the middle of the night, hands going numb from my knee down to my foot. I'd be in the middle of running a 60 and I wouldn't even be able to feel my lower legs at all from cashew cauliflower soup that I made from scratch. So that was extreme oxalates and I didn't realize it. And also the lectins. But again, I'm going to repeat lectins, the body will break lectins down within 4 to 5 days and get and excrete them. Oxalates do not break down naturally, they store and accumulate. And they keep accumulating, and then you think you've got arthritis, you think you've got tendonitis, bursitis, you think you have all the itises, and what you really have is oxalate shards of glass that are parking in your joints, in your tendons, in your bursa, and in your nerves. That's how serious it is. So again, these are toxins that are in the fruits and vegetables naturally before pesticides in order to keep insects off of them. But the fact that they're impacting a animal the size that a human is shows you that they are increasing the oxalates in the pesticides, where it's actually poisoning us as well, impacting our bodies and selling more arthritis medication. Okay, so that's number 3 that I wanted to go over. On the keto plan, I gave you a lot of recipes. So I also stated that this month 3 on keto, you really have to bring a lot of variety to your eating. Also, the month of March is when normal people typically fall off of anything good that they started for the new year. They give up on themselves and they just say, fuck it. And then they ruin the rest of the year. That's typical of most people. So you need to realize that in order to keep going on something, you deserve to actually bring more variety into your diet and still stay on keto. You can make, Jody and I were just talking about, I just made, she made it to lasagna that had no noodles. So it still tasted fantastic. I used ground burger, then I did my cheese and my sauce, and then basil. Then I used ground turkey and then cheese and sauce and the basil. So I made multiple layers with different meats in mine, which tasted amazing. So you could do that. You could also get the those egg white wraps. I had a client, she just took those and she just sliced them so they look like noodles. And she laid those on there. They were just the egg white. She used the Italian one, which I don't like because I hate oregano. You could use the Italian one. You could use the anything but the bagel. You can use the plain ones, and you could use those for layers, or you could just do it with just the meat only. Um, but you've got to use some of those recipes. So you've got constantly variety coming in, and your brain is picking up, oh, you've got variety coming in here. I don't feel like I'm on a diet. I'm enjoying this a lot. It tastes great, and so forth. If you don't, and you just get into a rut of eating the same shit over and over, it's going to make the brain rebel. Um, and it rebels because it feels like you're abusing it, because you are. You're neglecting it. You're being mean. Um, and you're going to cause a binge. So you're going to set yourself up for a binge. And some people want to do that. They want to set themselves up for a binge to give them the right to binge. I'm giving you the proper mentality to have in order to not go through that demoralizing situation where you binge and ruin all your hard work and all of your results. So it's really important to get into different recipes, share them, engage, get engaged on the app with recipes, share them, and just feel other people are doing it with you. And then it'll just start to get to a place where you'll start to feel like you've healed a lot of your type 3 diabetes. Anyone who has fat on their stomach has a fatty liver. If you have a fatty liver, you absolutely have type 3 diabetes, which is insulin resistance. I just sent a few clients this video of this guy talking about type 3 diabetes is the precursor for dementia. And I have that all over my family, and I have no desire to experience that. So it's a really, really big deal. So you don't have to have every single item that he talked about on the video about type 3 diabetes. He was talking about blood pressure issues. I don't have any blood pressure issues. I have all the blood sugar issues. And what I've noticed is men typically get the blood pressure and the broken dick issues, and women typically get the type 3 diabetes, the diabetic sugar issues, cravings, fatty, extreme fatty liver, a lot of belly fat. And so just because you don't have one or two of the items, it could be just because of your sex. So you have the feminine items, and then the men have the high blood pressure, high resting heart rate, or blood pressure issues, and which usually leads to broken dick issues. Those two organs are connected. So you need to focus on yourself and nobody else. Now, we're going to get into national champion mentality, because before I talk about what Todd wants discussed about.
Melinda, can I ask you a question?
Oh, yes, you can. What? Sorry, hold on. Unmute again. Okay, there you are.
I keep freezing on, maybe it's just me, but it keeps freezing. Hey, when you were talking about, what's it called? Not the lectins.
Oxalate dumping.
So if you, I'm fortunate, I don't have any of that, but were you talking about the pesticides create that, or it's naturally occurring in kale and spinach?
Well, oxalates are in all of these foods naturally. It's a toxin that a plant has in order to herbivores not to eat it and insects to not eat it. And so, but it's only supposed to be for those type of animals. It's not supposed to be so strong that it harms a human. So there was a period of time before all these pesticides where, as you remember, go back to the 80s and 90s, I assure you potatoes and spinach were not making your fucking joints hurt.
Well, that's what I would. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I was wondering at first when you were talking about pesticides. I'm like, are you saying that it's caused by the pesticides, or because if you grow your own vegetables, then that's a whole different thing.
Right. You don't have the pesticides that you're putting on there. You just have to make sure your seeds are heirloom and not GMO. If it doesn't say heirloom on those, obviously you know that they've been tampered with, where they're putting the GMO and the oxalates and the lectins on the seed when it's genetically modified. Obviously they want to do that from seed, because then the plant's going to get huge, because no animals are going to eat off of it. So it's actually on the seed. It's not necessarily just 100% the spray. So that's why it's so important to watch your seeds and the spray. So yes, if you're growing your own things, like when I started to eat, when I was just eating cucumbers and I was eating organic ones, I was still getting all the numbness happening from the lectins. And then when I found, oh my God, if I find these little baby ones that are greenhouse grown with no pesticide, I have no attacks now. No,
that's what you told me to get. Good.
Yeah. Okay. And so I'm getting no side effects through the greenhouse grown baby cucumbers. So
I guess with needing more calcium myself, family history and all of that, other than taking supplements, which I'd rather get in the vegetables, I go with the green, like the kale and the Swiss chard and all that. But you're saying those on their own, not necessarily with the pesticides or anything like that, whether they're heirloom or GMO, they have
They're
that.
high. Yeah,
They
they're
have
high.
that in them. Okay.
They're high.
Okay.
They're high in oxalate. So just know if you eat a little bit of it, but you mix it in with romaine and with iceberg, which is super low, then that's how you want to do it. And arugula's low. So just try to get the lower ones. And then when you have something that you like, let's say you like your kale or you like your spinach, just put a little bit in there. And so if you just put a little bit, now your oxalates will be on the lower side. And just also pay attention to your body. If mine is nerves, mine's not in my joints. I mean, it gets to my joints. If I keep doing my nerves, then it starts to hurt my fucking knees and my wrists. I won't even be able to pick up a barbell for a client. So it will get into my wrist joints and then my knee joint. But that's after I've already did all kinds of damage on my nerves. So just pay attention to that. Just look out for it. It even said raspberries too on here.
Yeah, so, I was just trying to find where that. How do you spell that oxalate?
OXALATE. And
okay,
just key in high oxalate foods, and then the list will come up. Then you can key in low oxalate foods, and you'll see how many that you actually eat on a normal basis. And remember, these things accumulate in the body. The only way that they excrete is by the calcium attaching to them, and then calcium pulls them out of the body. And if you don't, which you guys, I know all you Greenleafs can handle calcium. If you can't do milk, you can do citric acid and or lemon juice. Lemon juice has a lot of calcium citrate in it.
Gotcha. And so hey, and another thing, and I won't take any more time. Brian actually made it last night, and the noodles were part of PALM, 4 carbs.
Oh, love it.
Outstanding.
And what did you make? What did he make?
Lasagna. They're noodles. They're the heart of PALM is you can buy it as a lasagna noodle.
Oh, great.
Wow. You couldn't even tell. It was very good.
Oh my God, that sounds so awesome. Good. Love it. Love it. So that's kind of where we want to be. We want to be, discussing understanding oxalates. Look out for oxalates, look out for lectins. Be aware lectins do excrete pretty fast, 4 to 6 days. The body will typically get those out, but they are no match to an oxalate. You could be doing oxalate dumping, which your joints and stuff could hurt. You could get really inflamed, lower legs, feet, and hands and fingers from just a sudden change in your diet where you stopped all oxalates. That's when the body starts to dump them. So that could be what's happening. So anyone that's having any of that stuff, number one, get your calcium up, which I think you're pretty good, but I would do the calcium citrate with the fresh lemons. So I would do the fresh lemons in all your water during the day in order to try to attack those oxalates and get them out. And then just look over a high oxalate food list and look over a low one and start to cut back and then remove the items from your from being a big part of your diet. So that's a big thing. Okay, so national champion mentality. This is a certain type of mentality that I want to go over. It has a lot to do with a confusion about manifesting. So I'm trying to remember. I think it's called the Celestial Prophecy. And then what's that other secret one? Is it called The Secret?
The Secret.
Yeah, it's called The Secret. Those are perversions of manifesting, because the reason that they're perversions is those are just telling you that all you have to do is pray for it or just say a mantra and then you're going to manifest. And that's actually not manifesting. That is, you're just being lazy. You're not actually doing the work. So a manifest happens from you having faith in something that you don't have yet. And so you have to say, okay, well, this is what I want. And then you have to put the work in. And when you put the work in towards it, so I've said this to people before about competing. Let's just say powerlifting, for example. It's like when you're putting in, you have your mind made up that you're going to compete. You have your mind made up that you want to get the national record or the state record, and then you're putting in hard work. The manifest is that you're the one that wins. The manifest is that nobody else showed up in your class. The manifest is that you beat everybody in the class because you've outworked them. So manifest is your work ends up making it become a reality. All your discipline is what makes it become a reality. Not just because you think it, not because you want it, not because you wish for it. Those perversions of that stuff just sells books and makes the masses buy them, and they get nothing, and then they move on to the next fucking thing they spend their money on. But it also is such a perversion, it will make you think that manifesting doesn't work. No, I truly believe in manifesting. I do it all the time. And the reason that we work you so hard in any practice that you do with us is because we're just moving the scales in your favor. And so that's how you manifest. So it's not, I didn't work hard and I just won this. Like, that's not manifesting. And that's not going to keep happening in your favor. You want to constantly tip the scales in your favor, have your mind made up, write it down, look at it, be happy and excited, act like you already have it or it's coming, and then put the work in. So do the work. So for a national champion mentality, that work is 10 times as hard as just regional or local competitions. So you have to put in more work. Well, just like for the power lifters, we worked you hard, harder than anybody your own age or younger than you. We make you work your asses off. And then sure enough, everything just falls in line. Everything just gets in your favor. Especially if you're doing natural competition. Now, the last year we competed in a drug-based organization with powerlifting, USA Powerlifting. That's why those records are not beatable, because you've got people that work hard, but they work hard on gear. So the best thing about USA Track and Field, especially Masters, clearly you don't see people doing drugs. That's why it's so much better than bodybuilding and some of these other things where these just don't drug test. So a national champion mentality, the thing that I want you to get the understanding of, especially for track, and especially USA Track and Field, which is part of the Olympics, is you're not just going and competing and winning a gold or silver or bronze. You've got to get more of the mentality of the work that went into it and the fame that comes around this, and be able to push that out and be respected for the work. If you just are constantly just putting the work in and you're not feeling it enough, then people won't be able to feel that off of you. And then you won't, get a new license plate or your shirt or, a necklace made or something that makes you, it needs to reflect back off of you that this is really important to you and you worked hard for it and there's fame around that. So you need to get more of a national champion mentality. And that comes from how you do your posts on your social media, how you carry yourself, what you're wearing. If you order a badge and you've got it on a jacket or you got it on your bag, you just really are fully present. And when you get fully present, then becoming a national champion starts to really pay off. And the reason that we're setting you up to get this mentality the right way is we want our entire team to be a national champion team. So we get to the point where all of us are competing on a national champion level, and then we actually win a national championship. This is when the Nike deals start coming. And that's what we want. We have really big teams that we have to beat. Atlanta track team is huge, and the Santa Monica Track Club and SoCal. Those are really, really, really big track teams. Most of those people only come together during the meets. So we're going to start recruiting after the nationals. We've got to recruit in order to grow the team, because the bigger the team, the more points. There's only so many points 15 people can get. 25, 35, 100 can get more points. So we absolutely have to recruit. for more people, and they don't necessarily have to live in town. We'll have a full. They can do it just from the online platform, and they can train themselves and then just meet up, wear the uniform, and meet up at the actual meets and compete attached to amp up. So if you do know people that don't even live here, that show interest, whatever, we're going to make it more uh, easier access for people that don't even live. They don't have to live in the state. They can live anywhere and just be part of Team Amp Up. So we need to grow the team in order to get the team larger, so the points grow and grow and grow. Um, so you guys will see at the nationals this time. You'll be able to see how large teams are and so forth. Um, let's see. So we need more. We need more athletes to win team national championships. That's what he said. Okay, so what his plan is for national champions and the events for indoor. He's got Brittany getting a national championship record for the long jump and the 60-meter. He has Rachel getting a national championship for weighted throw and shot put. He has Karen getting the national championship for race walking. He has Kim getting the national championship for the 60-meter and the 200-meter. He has Miranda getting the national championship for the, what the hell is that? That's weighted throw. What are these two letters for? Oh no, this is me. Sorry. Miranda's under me. He has Melinda. He has me getting it for triple jump. I was like, what's the TJ? He has Miranda getting it for weighted throw and shot put. Yeah, okay. He's got medals and points 1 through 6 for everyone else, or for you if he didn't mention. He's got people missing on here.
Yeah, that was not a conclusive list.
That's not everybody. He didn't even put Rhonda on here. He didn't write everybody on here. But he's got medals, points 1 through 6. So 6 obviously is the highest points, 1. So it means first to 6th place obviously still gets points for the team. He wrote down outdoor. He wants to put together for outdoor. Outdoor practice will begin after the nationals. So that would be in the month of April. Outdoor practice will start. He wants to put together a 4x100 team. And where did he write these names at? God, reading this is like reading the Wall Street Journal. Yep. Oh my God. Okay. So are these for the same people? Maybe. Brittany, he wants her in the 4x1 outdoor, a 200-meter outdoor, a long jump outdoor, 100-meter outdoor. Okay, so that's all yours outdoor.
Yeah.
Rachel, he wants you in the 4x1, javelin, discus, and hammer. Karen's race walk, wants national champion for outdoor for that. Kim, he wants you in the 4x1, 100-meter, 200-meter. Melinda, 4x1, high jump, triple jump, long jump. Again, he didn't write Rhonda, didn't write other names on here. Dana, high jump outdoor. Mike, hammer outdoor. Michelle, javelin for sure, national champion, unless you, Michelle, if you're going to be doing other throwing events outdoor, Then he needs to see that. Miranda weighted throw shot put outdoor national championship on that. So far, those are the numbers that you guys are working from. I'm going over to the chat and see what people are saying over here. So those are just the numbers that he's been looking at from his recent records that he's been taking down. So as soon as you start getting closer and closer for your age and in those national numbers, then he'll update that. So we might have more updates as of the practice on this Sunday. More updates, more national record updates. Okay. Okay, so all right, have you posted OMAD? Yeah, the OMAD, Cindy, is the Meal Plan 53. If you open up Meal Plan 53, you'll see it's got a day of eating, then it says 24-hour fast, then eat one of the recipes. Day of eating. So we're doing OMAD every other day right now. It's not 7 days of OMAD right now for you all. It's just every other day OMAD. So yeah, that's on there. Michelle's got macadamia nuts, dry roasted, and the milk. Lovely, 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 lovely. So that's perfect on that. That's very low oxalates. That's the lowest oxalate nut of all. That one is. All right. And then he said, okay, outdoor training starts after the indoor nationals. May 4th is when we all go for NASA powerlifting in Tennessee. So that is the weekend of, we're going to be in Tennessee that weekend. So obviously, if anyone isn't registered and you still want to go, make sure that you get registered. You know, NASA's cool like that. Unlike the way they closed out USA Powerlifting, that was awful. So got time for that. Then 2024 California Outdoor Nationals. So we'll be going to that. So like we said, last year was just a little baby year of everyone just doing regionals. And then this year is we're not doing worlds this year. This is like going to adolescence. We're going to the indoor nationals in Chicago and then the outdoor nationals this summer in Sacramento, California. So please look that up that weekend of July when that is happening. Then next year, we will be making our faces known and our competition node in 2025. And the indoor worlds is in Gainesville, Florida. So you will be representing Team USA. We will have the same uniforms that the Olympians are wearing. So they always have the same uniforms for Masters as for the Olympians. So Gainesville, Florida is the 2025 Indoor Worlds. And then it's got 8,000 athletes that are going to be there on that in 100 countries. In 2026, the Worlds are in Korea, which sounds amazing to do that. They don't have the outdoor nationals for 2025 published yet, but Gainesville, Florida has Worlds and indoors. They're both in Gainesville next year. Anyway, so that's kind of where we're at and what the goal is. And next month we should have an update on the growth of AMP Up and what we're going to do for payments. Finally, we'll be able to show some stuff that we've been developing for the last 120 days, 6 months, and start to get where all of this fame that you're getting with all the sports that you're doing. And then when we start to post a certain way that we're going to be posting and doing SEO on all of your wins, and then that's going to be connected to your ability to generate revenue and the cards that's going to go on and so forth. So I'll get into that once we have more tangibles. And then we'll have the actual start date of all that. Our IT people are working on the site, and finance people are working on these accounts and so forth to make this more real. So it's going to be a lot more fun knowing that you're actually generating revenue with these wins. And then again, as a team, all of us winning together, we get to the point where we can get some kind of a Nike endorsement, which is what we want. So when we were at watching a meet last year, we saw Flo Myler. I'm going to bring her up forever. She's 89 now. She got her Nike endorsement at 85. So, and she has a Nike commercial. So this would be amazing for us to get a team commercial. So that's what we want to manifest. That's what we want to manifest. Okay. So what is this last message I'm seeing here? Yeah. So fall. Yeah. Hopefully fall NASA powerlifting. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll obviously we'll talk to them in May and find out what's going on, if anything else is going to happen in Ohio. Or I did see there was Illinois, so close to Ohio in the fall, we might do something in Illinois. I think I saw that one. Does anybody have any questions? Do you want to discuss anything? Do you have anything that you want to talk about at all?
No, I'm in the brain dead part of the season, as we know.
Brain dead part of the season?
Yeah, Todd was like, let me know when you're fully recovered. And then I started to type yesterday, oh, I feel great. And then I was like, no, I don't. I'm not recovered yet. He was like, okay, well, you just need to rest the rest of the week because I need to do trials on you on Sunday. So I'm going to hot yoga. I got the reflexology massage today.
Oh, did you do it already?
Yeah.
What'd you think about that motherfucker?
I'm so tight. All he did is poke at my tight muscles at this point. Like, I'll see how
Wasn't he intense though?
Yeah, I almost cried during the foot part. I was like,
oh,
like Lamaze.
That's breathing. What I had to do.
Yeah, so
I had to do pregnancy breathing.
I'll probably go back for that. The rest of me, his elbows through a t-shirt are not equipped to handle. I told Kim, I feel like he just poked at my traps, and he got to my traps and neck, and he goes, "Oh, those are tight." Oh. I was like, and I don't think his elbows handled that.
Oh, so he pulverized me.
Well, for that, yeah.
But I'm not tight like you.
I'm beyond that.
Yeah, I'm not tight like you. Oh, he pulverized me.
I'll probably go back for the reflexology.
Good.
My feet are so fucked up that's probably necessary quite often. Yeah. Yeah,
well, that's good. I'm glad you got to get into it.
I've got my truck appointment, like I was telling you, Wednesday morning.
Yeah, right before we leave.
Right before we leave.
Yeah.
So I'm just figuring out the flow. And now that Todd is into heavy training for himself, he has a lot more empathy for my body and recovery needs.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah. Thank God. Thank God.
That's so I was like, oh, when I stood up yesterday, I was like, I don't know why my knees still hurt. And he texted me, what do you mean you don't know why your knees hurt?
From all last week.
All of the intensity. He's like, you're intensely pounding them.
Yeah.
Why would they not hurt?
Yeah.
No, you say that. That's
no.
I've ever gotten a response like that.
He's never said that. So that is good.
So the fact is, originally he was going to make me practice today and tomorrow. And then he rethought that.
Good. Cindy said, where do you do hot yoga?
Well, I am trying out a bunch of different places. So yeah. So I will let you know what my favorite is, because now there's so many different variations. There's a place that I've been to over in Grandview that is very effective, meaning like the room's hot enough. They do all the poses I like. They go at the right speed. But that is a 3-hour ordeal because it's 30 minutes to get over there. It's a 90-minute thing. You can't get there the minute it starts. You have to get there early. Yeah. And then you're dying from sweat. So it's a 3-hour. That's half a day of work.
Yeah.
So I've got to find some place on this side of town that is hot enough. I mean, the reason that we started going to hot yoga is because that's where the OSU football players went.
Yeah.
So, and I know a lot of, and just over the years, different professional athletes that do hot yoga. So it's just so good for recovery of your whole body, just like, infrared saunas or really any kind of heat. It's just so important for recovery. And so I went into a place that I've gone to before. I was like, I think it's been like 3 years since I've been here. And she looked me up and she was like, yep, it's been since 2020. So it's been 4 years since I've been there.
Wow, 4 years.
But just when I was doing certain standing poses, just like getting into that heat and getting into those positions and knee flexibility and knee strength. Like I've done it, consistently for 20 years, except for the past 4 years, obviously. So just as a master's athlete, figuring out what the flow is of what kind of massage therapy I need, what kind of, some salt bath schedule, what kind of training schedule as far as intensity, all the mobility. My hips actually feel great. My hips are like the best body part on me now.
That's great.
Because of all the research that I've done on mobility. So it's like, okay, check, like got that down. And now I'm figuring out now that I can, go so much harder, now the hips are great. The hips can handle it. Now we got to do some work on the knees. So now I'm going to be doing a lot of like prehab stuff, like backward sled drags, things like that. That one of my friends who's an NFL player, he does that for his knees. Oh, there's a bunny out there.
I would avoid Bikram.
Oh no, I love Bikram. That's what I actually do.
But they never wash their carpet, so that's why I don't like to go there.
Why?
They never wash their carpet.
Oh no, it's so stinky there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's 105 degrees. I bring a beach towel with me. Like, what are you gonna do? You just
I can't deal with that. And there used to be one over off of Presidential Parkway that was pretty decent. I don't know if they're still there. It's a yoga shop.
Oh. Well, I mean, the hot yoga one, and it was a young, sexy girl. She was a former gymnast, also. So that was the place over in Grandview. But I'm not spending 3 hours doing that.
Yeah. So. Well, and Planet Fitness has their standing. What's that? What's the thing you just said? Infrared. They've got infrared too. Yeah. Yeah. So okay, well, just make sure that you are doing all of you are doing a enormous amount of healing work on your body. You got Michelle who can do cupping. You got this reflexology foot guy over at the Foot Palace on Sawmill Road.
Yeah.
Just don't wait until you're hurt. Do the stuff ahead. You got your Epsom soak. You can soak in the shower, wash your hair, plug it up, put your Epsom salt in there, let it fill up around your ankles, and just finish everything else. And then that's the best way to do it in your shower.
And it also, for what she said, like, it's not just when you're injured. A lot of the stuff has to do with the nervous system. And when you're doing stuff that this intense, you need to counterbalance with things that are more relaxing for the nervous system. So that's what that intense heat and Bikram yoga does. That actually affects the central nervous system and helps everything reset.
And that's balance. Yeah. So it's about balance. So keep it balanced.
HotWorks also has the infrared.
Oh, they do. Oh, cool. That's great that they've got that there.
Well, it's just in the rooms there, all of them.
Oh, got it. Didn't realize that. Yeah, you're doing hot yoga nonstop in HotWorks. That's all that HotWorks is. It's hot everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. Okay. Todd did text. He said 6 to 8 p.m. is the practice at Audubon. So doors don't open till 6 for us. So you all know 6 to 8 on Sunday. So plan accordingly. Okay. Does anybody have anything else to go over?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, as soon as nationals are over, we start to go heavy on powerlifting for the month of April before we go May 4th. All right, everyone. Have a great evening.